Okay, so I saw this on YouTube, right? And then I read the Reddit post because I'm a I'm a failing biology major at a community college, right? And I was just, I don't know, kind of interested. I think a lot of this was taken in bad faith, and I'm not defending the original post, but I don't think a lot of this is nearly as bad as like everybody has been clowning on it has been. A lot of this information is very misconstrued. It is all technically true in like a vacuum, but isn't like true in practice, right? But I'll just start top down. Original posting, right? Aiming process, the 200 millisecond delay thing. This is very flawed, and like it's not true, right? It's not like a hard limit. The issue is people need to realize there's a difference between like reaction time and I guess the word is like response time, right? This time I do have like actual sources, actual links, right? I will maybe put the links into the description if I remember. A bunch of people, 23 years of average, right? Basically the average of 100 women, right? Reaction time when it comes to just raw color, right? 200 milliseconds. That's probably where this number comes from. Gamers can get like 150, right? Like professional athletes, like F1 drivers can probably get like 150, you know, anything that requires speed or whatever. Things that I thought was the most interesting was this, right? Basically a group of scientists got a bunch of people the simple task, if they saw a shape, they click the button, right? The LR choice, in this experiment it was left right choice, right? If a arrow was pointing to the right or the left, they had to press a corresponding button, right? Just adding those two choices alone gave a reaction time increase of almost 100 milliseconds, right? You're not thinking about anything except the fact that, oh, my dots are black on a white background. I have very little external stimuli, I just have to click the dots. The thinking involved is just, oh, the dot moved to the right, the dot moved to the left. The thought processes aren't necessarily complicated. Those are pretty much not purely reaction time, but it's like, however fast you have trained that response to that piece of stimuli, right? Like if you have trained fast enough to react, oh, the strafing target moved to the right, I will move my hand to the right. That is how fast that will be. But however fast that is, it will be just your reaction time raw, because that is something that you have trained, right? That stops being a response and that starts being a reaction because you're anticipating it, you're trying to react to it. All of these are like, they're fairly true, right? A lot of these come from like kind of facts, right? But once again, it's like in a vacuum versus like in your everyday life. These are all true. Like you will see the target, but like stuff like aim for the head, these shouldn't be separated, right? These should all be part of the same. Like this is all happening at the same time pretty much. If you see the target, you shouldn't be having think to click on the head and then thinking how far I'm moving my hand to do this, right? You're just thinking I'm going to click on his head. I think this is also not like incorrect. This I don't know if I agree with, right? When you're playing a smoothest scenario, most of the time you're like told to predict the fact that, oh, the target is going to go in this direction in a very predicted like manner, right? It's predictive for a reason. You're going to predict where it is. The adjustment comes if you have either bad technique or just a bad flick. But this, I mean, it's not wrong. Like the high frequency closed loop correction thingy, right? Like it's just saying like, oh, I saw that I'm not on the target, so I'm gonna get back on the target. This is another piece of schlop for fun. The cerebellum, ding. Like, I guess this is true, right? The feed forward thing that is like the target is going in a straight line, I will just move my hand in a straight line. That is true. That is like a common practice to smooth the scenarios, right? That's fine. The whole fovea, like central vision thing, right? Retinal slip, right? This is true. You will see this like when you play games, like, or you'll notice it, right? Like I have this pulled up, right, for this reason. You notice how like his eyes are making very, oh, he's making very general movements, right? Like he's looking at like the spots of action, but once he's like hitting a like a curved slider or something like that, right? His eyes are following the pathing, right? Like you'll see it here, right? Like the slider's going there and he's moving his eyes slightly with it. He's following the sliders there again, right? He's following the sliders down and then up again, right? Down on that pole, right? Like you'll kind of see it and you'll feel it, right? Like let's say you're playing a game like Overwatch and a tracer blinks past you on Soldier. Your eyes are going to jump where the tracer is, and then it's going to like not like it's going to follow the tracer when she starts like AD spamming in front of you, you know? Like you will feel this happening. This is just another bunch of jargon for fun though, right? But this isn't necessarily wrong. Also, this is something that I'm probably going to put into like the middle of the video because this was in the original post. I don't know if it was moved or whatever, right? Maybe I just skipped over it. The you must not micro adjust, technically true, right? Like when you're playing an actual game, like if you're playing Widow, right? You're not like micro adjusting on your flick, right? It's the reason why MBM practices, you know, dynamic the way he does, right? All of it is like, oh, I see the dot, I'm going to just flick to the dot raw. I couldn't find a video on his channel from less than 5 years. You could see his accuracy is half of second places with a better score, right? I think Maddie made a video about this on like his secrets of aim or whatever, right? Like when you're playing an actual game, right? If you spend the time to stop and then think, oh, I'm going to flick again, you might just die, right? So you will just go for your first reaction most of the time. Open loop control, once again, a bunch of jargon, right? It's basically saying you did the thing and that is the action, and it was a one smooth fluid action. When you're playing a game, it's not just one smooth fluid action. Say you're like, if you're playing like Counter-Strike, right, and the guy swings you from an off angle, your first adjustment is like doing like your whole setup for like a shot. If you're playing tennis, right, you get into stance and then you get like you do your swing, right? If a guy swings you at an off angle, your initial flick, right, your big flick is going to be your setup, right? And then like whatever flick you do after that, or whatever like the spray control you do after that, is going to be your open loop control. It's going to be the thing that you can do like in one go, right? This is flawed because of the way it is used in this like context. This is one of those things that like, yeah, but it's because of the nature of like playing a game. Like a lot of the time, the visual feedback you'll get, like you missed your shot at the basket, right? And you're running to go play defense instantly, right? The difference between like sports is that you are punished immediately and there's nothing you can do about it, right? In an aim trainer, if you miss, you just click on the dot again. If you miss a basketball shot, you can't fly to the ball and put it in. If you could fly to the ball and put it in, your visual feedback loop would be the exact same as playing an aim trainer, because you could just go fix your mistake. So that is whatever this part is. Like technically true, just inherently flawed in the way they're using to describe like aim training or playing a game, right? But this is technically true, right? Like if you're playing a game, this is kind of how it is. Your peripheral spots a thing, and then like that becomes your center of focus, right? And then you flick to it. That is just kind of how that works, right? Like you will see people do like aim start, 1 frame flick, you know, stuff like that. Like that is essentially this, right? But the thing is, right, he goes like, they go into like the argument like, oh, when you're playing an actual game, right, like you don't micro correct, you don't adjust your shot or whatever, right? And like that's true, because your micro adjustment is your spray control, right? Like you are building it into your recoil control. It is why you learn like the gun sprays in every game ever, right? This is flawed. The whole thing about like your eyes is that they lie to you because they will like a lot of your vision is assumed, right? Because of that 200 millisecond delay. A lot of your vision is assumed, right? But your raw vision isn't delayed to that extent, right? Like 70 milliseconds, right? Give or take, maybe just 70 milliseconds, right? But like, this might also just be wrong. But even this like AI overview from Google Gemini is a lot faster than the 200 this guy put in here. But you are like leading your crosshair, right? Like if you're tracking an Octane pad or a guy jumping like Ray Satchel, right? Or you see like a Farah in the sky, you know the path they're going to go because all those characters are like fairly predictable, right? And you're just going to predict where they're going to go, and your crosses are going to be there. That is just how you play games in general, right? Like this isn't wrong. All of this information is wrong, right? And that's why chasing is bad. Like when you're chase tracking in like Kovacs, right? That's why that's a bad habit. Like this is true. It's just this information here, that is all wrong, right? Just this sentence, like this statement here is technically true, right? Optimal hit rate of 85%. This is strange, right? When you practice anything ever, you are practicing proper technique. If you're playing violin and you are practicing your scales and you're practicing your fingerings, you're not playing at a speed where you fuck up 15% of the notes. This is just wrong. You're playing at a speed which is slightly out of your comfort range, so you can build it into your comfort range, right? Animal learning, right? Like it's not like you're not teaching an animal super complicated thing, right? If you're teaching a motor skill, you don't want to be teaching it that way, right? If you're teaching stuff like a knowledge thing, like if you're teaching like maths or sciences, right? If you're getting 100% accuracies on like your math practice exams, your practice exams are too easy. You're not doing questions that are hard enough for you. You're not challenging like your understanding of like a thing, right? If you're doing a physical skill, you want to be practicing in a way where you are practicing just your raw technique. You shouldn't be practicing to get 15% of the things you're doing wrong. And then the second thing is your optimal failure rate will be determined by what you are trying to practice. Like if you're doing a static scenario, you're already practicing two separate things, or three, right? You're either practicing your pathing or you're practicing like your initial flick, right? Like your direction, right? Your accuracy to it, like how close you can like land, right? Or you're practicing the speed of your like micro correction. And whatever you choose to focus on, you will like find your like, oh, I need to work on this, and you will work on that subconsciously, right? The strobe thing, this just seems bad for your eyes. This is just stuff people knew for a long time already. Sleep 8 hours a day or whatever. And this is just a bunch of slop. But that is my take on this. I think a lot of this is just technically grounded in truth, just misconstrued information and applied in the wrong ways. But I don't know.